It's time for a Python video review. It's time for a Python video review.
Hey, Titan Z here, back to do yet another one of Bumblebee's greatest hits pack. This time we're taking a look at the Cassette pack, which comes with 3 recolors of Titan Return Cassette figures and one very underwhelming one-step changing Bumblebee, which we will get to in just a minute. But first, I'm going to have you guys take a look at the packaging, because just like the last one, it's pretty cool. Although I really couldn't wait to keep these 3 in the box till I could play around with them, make sure everything was okay with them. So that's why they're already out. So give me just a second and we'll take a look at the box. So here we have the box here. Yet just like the last pack, this is a Target exclusive. And the box would have contained the 3 cassettes in their cassette form and Bumblebee in his robot mode, if you could even call it a robot mode. Again, we'll get to that in a minute. Just like the Soundwave one, it is pretty good packaging. And something I actually forgot to show you on the Soundwave box, it has this picture of Bumblebee kind of rocking out with a handmade air guitar kind of, well, dealy. It's just kind of hilarious to look at, honestly. I don't know if this is supposed to show up in the movie or if this was just made for the box, but it's still pretty funny. And the other side has the nice details. The back side shows all the products, and you get Decepticon Frenzy, Buzzsaw, and Howlback, as well as Bumblebee. Just for reference, this is again a Bumblebee movie line product, which means this Frenzy is the same Frenzy we saw in the first Transformers movie back in 2007. How he went from this to the anorexic piece of scrap metal that was destroyed by his own spinning blade disc is beyond me. And as Buzzsaw is obviously Buzzsaw, although I will say this Buzzsaw I'm definitely keeping, as its colors are much closer to its G1 counterpart, and Howlback is a bit of an interesting one. The Howlback was I believe an eShop exclusive from Japan, and is actually a female Decepticon, surprisingly enough. So, but yeah, that's what you get in the box, and we'll be right back with the figures. So, we are going to review in order the least impressive Transformer to the most impressive. In this case, the least impressive one is definitely the one-step change Bumblebee. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I believe this particular version of Bumblebee was from the Age of Extinction line when they first introduced the whole one-step change system, because I think that was the Camaro he was in Age of Extinction, at the beginning of Age of Extinction, before he copied the new Camaro form he would have during the second half of the movie. It's obviously an easy step changer. It's one of the butterfly ones. You just fold it around and raise up the camera, and you're done. Yeah, not that impressive. When I was actually looking at it in the box, I was convinced for some reason that he had elbow articulation and would have considered him a halfway decent figure, but no, he doesn't. He just has the universal joints in his shoulders. But yeah, this is just awful. I know it's meant for little kids who can't easily transform a Transformer, but to package this with relatively 3 really good figures is just kind of an insult. This figure is probably going to find its way into the Goodwill bin, more than likely, because I don't think there's anywhere that's going to try to actually would pay money for this to try to sell. With that said, let's go to some better figures. Now, Howlback is our first up, and we will be doing each of the figures in segments, just because that's how I operate. Howlback in the cassette form is nice. It does make me wonder if they're going to release a second 3-pack of cassettes which have more G1-esque colors, because I wouldn't mind a Ravage with this kind of detail on the stickers, or a Laserbeak, or a Rumble for that matter. But yes, we have Howlback in her data slug slash cassette slash tablet mode. Did we ever settle on, during Titans Return what these were? Whatever. So give me just a second. And here we have vehicle mode. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. All of these data slugs, when they were released in Titans Return, the vehicle modes were just terrible. And Howlback / Ravage was no exception to the rule. Probably, I'd say not the worst vehicle mode, as I think the Laserbeak / Buzzsaw mode had the worst vehicle mode, because you just could not tell what it was. At least here you can kind of see it's supposed to be a jet. In all honesty, I think it looks more closely remodeled to the jet vehicles used during the original Gundam series, which had a very stocky, blocky look, which wasn't terrible, honestly. Now, the instructions actually tell you to have the wings all the way out, and I hate that look. I really do. So I actually, on all versions of this mold, fold the wings back slightly to give it a more kind of aerodynamic look, if one could be achieved with a block. But yeah, these vehicle modes are really an afterthought, and I don't think most fans are going to bother with using these very often. So I'll be right back. And we have Beast Mode, and just like Ravage, it's very nice. It's not perfect, but it's serviceable. Now, I will say the parts do feel a little more loose on her than they do on Ravage. I have a feeling the mold is suffering from some mold degradation, which makes me really worry if they do put out a Ravage, Laserbeak, and Rumble set, if the molds are going to be very loose out of the box. But yeah, not bad. I'd say the only downside to this figure is, much like Ravage, because it was mold sheared with stripes from Titans Return, you have these stupid, ridiculous fins, which make no sense on Howlback and Ravage. So, there's that. But, honestly, I still think it's pretty good. And not the worst figure in the set, obviously, but not the best, mostly just due to mold degradation. So, up next, Buzzsaw. Here we have Buzzsaw in his data slug mode, or cassette mode, whichever you prefer. I will say, unfortunately, mine has its stickers horribly misplaced, and as you can see, when I attempted to try to remove them, it was not wanting to come off at all, which really sucks. Because other than that, I think the mold is pretty awesome. Other than just like Howlback, it's suffering from a little bit of mold degradation in certain limbs. I really love the gold coloring they picked, which is much more G1 accurate in my opinion. It looks a lot better than the Combiner Wars version of Buzzsaw, which unfortunately I do have in storage right now, so I can't pull that one back out. But yeah, pretty good. I'll be right back with its vehicle mode. Okay, Hasbro, what the hell is this? No, seriously, what the hell is this? For the past 2 years since past 3 years since Combiner Wars, the fandom has been trying to figure out what in the hell this vehicle mode is. Could you kindly answer that, please? It has wheels, it has these weird front-mounted things, there's no visible cockpit. What in God's green earth is this thing? Seriously! Here we have Buzzsaw in its Condor mode, and this is a very nicely painted Condor mode. This is the kind of treatment that they're going to do potentially for a second cassette pack that will have Ravage, Rumble, and Laserbeak. I am very hopeful Laserbeak is going to have a very awesome looking Condor mode. So this figure is very nice. As I said, I do have the Combiner Wars version of Buzzsaw in storage, and it's probably going to stay in storage. This figure is probably going to end up being the one I leave on the shelf. And as you just saw in the video, unfortunately, just like Howlback, this one is suffering from a little bit of mold degradation, as the feet just kind of collapse under its own weight with just a little bit of a push. While I know Laserbeak does that too, it's not as significant, and I'm hoping I can fix that with just a little bit of floor polish. But other than that, I love this version, and I'm glad I picked it up. It was the very surprising figure for me in the 3-pack. So up next is Frenzy. And here we have Frenzy, and oh my yes, this is the reason I picked this 3-pack up. I was so desperate for a Frenzy, I was about ready to buy another Rumble from Titan's Return and get the upgrade sticker sheet from Repro Labels to make him into Rumble. But Frenzy, sorry. I am so glad they put this out. This looks very nice. And he's dead a cassette. He does, I think, that is his G1 cassette printed in sticker form on his little data slug form. So that's kind of cool. Nice little G1 nod. So I'll be right back with his vehicle mode. And here we have Frenzy's vehicle mode, and yes, that is a nice vehicle mode. Unlike the other two, this one actually kind of looks like a tank. It ain't perfect by any means, but it does a damn better job than the others. I'd say its only flaw is obviously having a bumper on Caterpillar treads. That makes no sense, but I know they had to fit it within inside a certain amount of space, so I guess I have to let it slide. It does have 3 caster wheels on the bottom, but I wouldn't, I would not recommend using them. They don't spin, at least one of them doesn't spin too freely. Yeah, only one of them spins freely, really, so I wouldn't recommend trying to roll this over a hard surface, or any surface for that matter. But, other than that, it's still not bad. It ain't perfect, but it's a lot better than the other molds, so I'll be right back with robot mode. And yes, the robot mode. Definitely the best part of this figure. It is one that is, again, the whole reason I bought the pack was to get this one figure. Even if the other two were complete crap, I still would have picked this figure up for its price of $29.99 just to get this figure. Luckily, the other two aren't terrible. They're pretty good, actually, and this is just excellent. I'd say its only major flaw, outside of the obvious hollow and not hollow arm, is he doesn't come with his more G1 blasters, and I'm kind of shocked they didn't do something for that. I'm kind of shocked they didn't include extra bits, since it was a pretty simple remold job. But, oh well, what you gonna do? That's what third-party Shapeways and other companies are for. Hopefully I can find something to put for both Rumble and Frenzy in the future. But, oh man, is this just lovely. It looks perfect. The 2 shades of blue work great. The gold looks good. If my only complaint is I think the Decepticon symbol is a little small, but nothing a Repro label can't solve in the future. But yeah, it's perfect. All 3 are great. I do recommend the pack if you're looking to complete at least getting Frenzy for your either version of Soundwave, either the Greatest Hits Soundwave or your Titan's Return Soundwave. I do recommend it, even though it does come with this very crap Bumblebee. But it also comes with 2 really good cassettes along with the one that I definitely wanted. Again, if you want to pick it up, it is only available at Target and Target.com. I'd imagine it will also be available in more third-party places like eBay, but that means the price is probably going to get jacked up a little bit more. So, I got mine's just a couple of days ago, so I'd recommend checking your Targets. Maybe even asking someone to check the back if you can, because that's how I ended up getting these. So I asked the lady who was working the toy section to check the back for me, and she managed to find it. So, yeah. Till next time, this is Titan Zed saying I'll see ya when I see ya.